Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I hope and pray that you are all fine and safe. I'm Dineshwaram, your English teacher, and this is the third lecture for Unit 7 for the students of class 9. In the last two lectures of Unit 7, we have completed the reading part along with its Urdu translation. You were also provided answers to the questions. Then we did all the vocabulary exercises given on page 77. Now in this third and last lecture of Unit 7, we'll discuss all the grammar topics given on page 77 to page 80. These topics will include position of adverbs, degrees of comparison for adverbs, present perfect continuous tense, and inshallah in this lecture we'll also cover the relevant exercises of grammar A, B, C, D and E. The first grammar exercise of this unit is place the adverbs at appropriate positions. Well, dear students, in the previous unit, unit number 6, you have done the sequence of adverbs with reference to verb. Now here we'll discuss the position of different types of adverbs in a sentence. You must have observed that adverbs sometimes come in the beginning of the sentence, or they take place in the middle and at the end of the sentence as well. To understand the given exercise of adverbs, here I'll share some of the rules for placing adverbs in a sentence. Now let's have a look of rule number 1. Adverbs of frequency are normally placed before the verb or between the helping verb and the main verb. If you look at sentence number 1 of this exercise, she comes here. The adverb that is given is often, and because it's an adverb of frequency, according to this rule number 1, the correct place of this adverb is she often comes here before the main verb. Now the second rule is there are two adverbs, sometimes and occasionally. These adverbs can go in the front, middle or end positions of a sentence. And keeping this rule in mind, if we look at sentence number 2, he goes to Lahore, and we'll have to use sometimes as an adverb, but you can use it either in the front, middle or at the end of the sentence. Here I have placed it in the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes he goes to Lahore. Now the third rule is when an adverb modifies an adjective or another adverb, it is usually placed before it, before the adjective and the adverb it is modifying. And if we look at sentence number 3 of our exercise, the teacher was late, and the adverbs that are given hardly ever, and there is this adjective late. According to this rule number 3, now you can easily understand the correct place of hardly ever, just before the adjective. The teacher was hardly ever late. Alright, the same rule can be applied in the sentence number 4. We are tired by the end of the day. The adverb is usually, and according to this rule number 3, it must come before the adjective it is modifying. So the correct place is we are usually tired by the end of the day. Alright, there is another rule of applying adverbs. The adverbs almost, also, hardly, just, nearly, never and still go in the middle of a sentence. Keep this point, after the first auxiliary verb. So if you have learned this rule, let's look at the fifth sentence of the exercise, I have posted a letter to them, and the given adverb is just. The correct place according to this rule number 4 is I have just posted a letter to them, right after the first auxiliary verb and before the main verb. Alright, the last rule that I'm going to discuss here is adverbs of manner, place and time are placed after the verb, and if there is an object of the verb, after the object. And this rule can be applied on sentence number 6. He did his work, and the given adverb is carefully, and we all know carefully is an adverb of manner. So, according to the last rule that I have taught you, the correct place will be after work. He did his work carefully. Great. The second topic of grammar is degrees of comparison. In your previous classes, dear students, you have read about degrees of adjectives, remember? Here you will learn that some adverbs also have 3 degrees like that of adjectives, and they follow the same rules that we apply while using degrees of adjective. If you look at the examples that are given here, these 2 examples have been taken from the lesson. And the superlative degree of comparison has been used over here, most crowded, and in the second example it's most visited. To make this concept more clear, let's have a look of this example. She slept little this night. Slept is the verb, and the adverb that is modifying it is little, and here it's the positive degree of comparison. Well, in the second sentence, she slept less last night. Less is the comparative degree of adverb, and that's modifying slept, again the same verb. She slept least the previous night, and here least is the superlative degree of comparison, and again modifying the verb slept. So I hope after looking at this, you have now the better understanding of degrees of comparison. Okay, the second exercise, which is on the same page, is complete this table with appropriate degree of adverbs. It's related to the same concept that we have just learned. It's a table, as you can see. Positive degrees have been given, and you are going to write comparative and superlative degrees. The first one is kept much. Kept is the verb and much is the adverb. Much is the positive degree. And let's have a look of the comparative degree and superlative degree. Kept more, kept most. So much, more, most are the comparative degrees. Second one is sang beautifully, and its comparative degree is sang more beautifully. Sang most beautifully is the superlative degree. Third one, slept little. Little is the adverb. The positive degree is little, and its comparative degree is slept less. Superlative is slept least. Looked good. Good is over here is an adverb. It's the positive degree, and its comparative is better, and superlative degree is best. The last one, arrived early. So early is an adverb. Its comparative degree is earlier, and superlative earliest. Arrived earliest. Alright, there's another exercise C, and this C exercise is actually your homework. Use the above degrees of comparison in sentences as given in the example. It's your homework. You are going to complete this work in your notebooks. The last topic of grammar in this unit is present perfect continuous tense. You have all been doing this in your previous classes, but let's do it once again. Look at the structure of this tense. subject in the beginning, then the helping verb, the auxiliary verb. There are two auxiliary verbs that we use, has and have. We know has come with the singular subjects and have are used with plural subjects. There is another auxiliary verb, that is been, and the verb that we use is the base form of verb with ing. Base form is the first form of verb with ing. Basically, there are two uses of this tense. The first use of this tense is it is used for an action that has just stopped or recently stopped. The examples are, I am tired because I have been running. So running is the action that was started in the past but now it has stopped. Second example is, why is the grass wet? Has it been raining? The last example that is given here, you don't understand because you haven't been listening. So this is the first use of this tense. Now let's have a look on the second use, that is an action continuing up to now. It's being continued. We use this tense, the present perfect continuous tense, to talk about an action that started in the past and is continuing now. This is often used with for or since. Remember, for or since. It's important to learn its usage. We often use for and since with the present perfect continuous tense. When do we use for? For is used to talk about a period of time, like duration of action. When it is given, then we need to use for. For example, 5 minutes, 2 weeks, 6 years. So when we are going to talk about the definite period of time of the action, we'll use for. We use since to talk about a point in past time. For example, 9 o'clock, 1st January or Monday. Since is used when the starting point of action is given and you don't know how long that action took, right? Now look at the examples. I have been reading for 2 hours. So 2 hours is actually the duration of the time that I took for reading. And it's here mean I am still reading, like the action is still continuing. Second example, we have been studying since 9 o'clock. So my action of studying started at 9 o'clock and it's still going on. Third example, for how long have you been learning English? So for is used with how long, like duration of the action have been asked here, and here in this sentence it means learning is still continuing, it's going on. Well, after going through this explanation, now look at the exercise that is given on page number 80. This exercise you will have to do it on your own, but to help you, I am giving you two tables for the use of for and since. After looking at these two tables, it would be very easy for you to complete this exercise. You are going to put for or since in the blanks. Exercise C is make 5 sentences using the present perfect continuous tense and convert them into negative and interrogative sentences. Again, such type of exercises you have been doing in class 6, remember? So you are going to do the same thing. First you are going to write 5 sentences and then you will convert them into negative and interrogative sentences.